Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Last night OnePlus pushed out an update to our OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro, bringing them up to beta 2 for oxygenos 11. So today I'm going to share with you guys a couple of those new features that they added into this beta. There's actually new features that we haven't had in the past. Of course, we still have the always on display, which is really nice. So let's not waste any time. This is TK and this is oxygenos 11 on OnePlus 8. Like and subscribe, and always make sure to hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. OnePlus Nord. Now, unfortunately, the OnePlus Nord is not part of this beta, but I'm pretty sure they'll be receiving it once it officially becomes available. And as you can see right here, Android 11 Open Beta 2. Now, this was pushed out last night, and now you do notice here that basically the model number here, and of course, we're still looking at the Snapdragon 865. Everything stays pretty much the same, just is pretty much just running Beta 2. And this is still running Android basically 10.0 on it. So the first thing we'll notice out of the box is the aesthetics. We kind of covered this in the preview, which we'll notice here. So let's go ahead and swipe these guys away. The overall aesthetics on the top did change. So the color scheme, the options as far as the button, you notice the icons, it's a little bit bigger, easier to read. And of course, one of the other things that we did notice that changed, let's go ahead and open up here, is the weather application. So actually I just didn't open up here. Let's go ahead and open up the weather. So the weather app did get a refresh, and it definitely looks a little bit different. If we jump into the clock app, we also see some of the new designs. So you'll notice new colors here, new designs. Again, small minor things that they did here to basically give us a new aesthetic look. One of the other things, of course, is if we jump into the settings tab, let's go ahead and bring it in, jump in. We now have more of a categorized organization. So we still have the ability of customizing the color, the accent color going in there, but it's more of in a grouping, and of course now much more one-handed friendly, as we kind of see here. Everything's dropped to the bottom when you go to the top. So you don't have to actually overreach to hit it, and of course recommendations are still sitting in here. The other thing that we also have now that is really nice if we go under customizations, and that's the ability of actually customizing the always on display or the clock style on the actual device. We now support always on display here where we didn't have it before. So we still have the ability of customizing the system icons, the icon packs, and of course the font. All of those things are pretty much the same. Fingerprint animation, horizon light, and all of those things are still here. So the one thing that we don't have here is the ability of customizing the horizon light, which is definitely very nice and really pretty much here. So wallpapers are sitting here. We can change from pretty simply. And now we have clock style, which is that new always on display. And what it means essentially is whenever we turn off our display, the display will actually just sit in on an always on function. So this is something that is very nice and unique now, and it's back. When I say back, because it used to be part of the original system. Now, the new thing that they added in here, which is very unique, is under wallpapers, and that's the ability of using that canvas function, which really works very nicely, and I'll explain to you guys what I mean. So if we click the canvas button here, it's going to take us into our gallery. We need to pick an image. So I'm going to actually just go ahead and pick an image that I used before, which is essentially an image that I use. So here is an image of myself, and obviously it's a portrait image, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the preview button. So it's going to calculate the wireframe function for this image, and it does actually do a really nice silhouette. So it'll go ahead and give you the play, and this is how it would look like if I, let's say, want to be able to unlock my device. It creates basically the always on display will look like this. So let's go ahead and hit apply. Now this does take over the always on display that I just showed you a second ago, and I'll go ahead and lock the device. When I do this, now if I touch the display, the wireframe shows up, and if I want to unlock my device, I'll go ahead and unlock it, press my finger, unlock, it takes me home, and then I still have access to all of my shortcuts that I normally want to be able to use, but it definitely looks really nice. The animation is very, so let's go ahead and turn it on, and yeah, I gotta remember not to turn on the display, so here we are, and it actually will recognize my face, so here we are. So put my finger, recognize, boom. Looks really nice, and it's something that you can do with a lot of images, and I did test it out with few images here, so just keep that in mind. So that's really nice things in here. Now, one of the other things that of course we definitely have here is the ability of resizing the pop-up window. This is something that was brought in with Android 11, and it looks really nice. So works really good. I'm able to play with the window and bring it in. When I'm done, I can just go ahead and close it. The other option that we definitely have here is the rechange of the power menu. So let's go ahead and bring in the power menu here, and you'll notice that the power menu went away from just being just the buttons on the right to now being the 3 buttons that we have on the top, and as long as you have the Google Home application, the ability of actually customizing your power controls. Google Pay is also switched over here, and Screenshot is actually present here. So now all of this is in one spot. The other thing that we'll also notice if we go into the Recents app is that the Recents application pretty much didn't get a lot of change overall. It looks pretty much the same animation, same everything, and it looks overall pretty much about the same. So one of the new features here that I'm hoping you guys can kind of see here, it says Smart 5G, and this is intended to be a function that allows us to actually have where the system recognizes where there is good 5G connectivity, and of course it'll give you the ability of actually turning on 5G when you need it and turning it off when you don't, so that you can save some battery. Unfortunately for me, I don't actually seem to be able to use this since this is part of the beta. Every time I put in one of my SIM cards, it just automatically disables this feature if it doesn't have a 5G SIM card that was inserted. But definitely looks like they're putting some attention into 5G and battery consumption, specifically when it comes to usage on our devices. The other thing that you probably notice here is I have the work-life balance. This is something obviously that's available depending on the ROM or the version or the region that you're in. So if you're in a region where this actually works for you guys, you're able to set it up for work and personal life. So you have work mode and of course life mode, and you're able to customize the different options between networks, what days it starts and ends on, and of course what application it uses and what email accounts you're able to get notifications from. So definitely very nice little options here that they've added. Last but not least, I don't want to forget the fact that they did add a couple of new video modes into the camera. First and foremost is right here. This is called Nightscape video and of course portrait video. So those two options are there. Let me go ahead and give you a couple of samples. First, I'm showing you guys real quick is a night image or a video that I took with Nightscape mode at night. What it seems like it does for the most part is provide a wider field of view than what normal night mode does. And then when we switch over to portrait video, so this is a quick sample of the portrait video feature, brand new within the new beta. This is beta 2. We've seen this feature before, but again, the main focus of it obviously is the subject, and everything else should be blurred out. So one of the things that they did update here was the permission manager. It enables us to actually give permission to a specific app, let's say camera access to Chrome, to be basically either denied or ask every time, which before used to be pretty much just an allow or deny kind of. Or of course, now we have the ability to say deny, allow when the application is being used, or ask every time. Means every time I turn on Chrome, and if it needs access to the camera, it'll ask me for that permission. Right now I'm disabling it, but again, the option is definitely there. So definitely that new wireframe lock screen option is actually very unique. Depending on the picture that you're using, it may work and it may not work. As you saw with my face, it didn't do a bad job, but I felt like it did it better when there was no beard. And when I tried using it on an actual flower or something that wasn't a person, it had an even harder time to recognizing the lines. But I think it works really great with portrait imagery. So if you have something like that, you're definitely going to be able to enjoy it. The Smart 5G function, I think it's limited in certain areas, but essentially it's trying to help you save battery on your device. So if you're in an area where it knows it has a good 5G signal, it'll turn it on, otherwise it'll turn it off. I couldn't replicate it on my side, so that's something to be intended, because once I put in a SIM card that didn't have 5G connectivity to it, that option disappeared. So again, still a beta, a lot of cool things coming in there, and that portrait video as well as the basically Nightscape video, which gives us a slightly wider field of view, definitely looks interesting. So again, keep it here. I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as possible. The last time we did was basically a developer preview. Now we are in the beta program, and definitely a little bit better as far as when it comes to using it as a daily driver. Just be aware that if you do upgrade to this program, leaving the program going back to stable will require you to basically format your data. So in any situation, never ever go into a beta without backing up your data. So that's kind of a big always thing that you need to know what to do with there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual and share it with all your friends. And I'll see you guys in the next video.